there, who it is. That's why these people shouldn't be in charge, bro. Like these people, ugh, it's our system is so trash. Yep. Speaking of
because they just want,
politics,
yeah, they just want to control us.
slavery was on the ballot in 5 states. Um, I
And
kind of wanted to talk about Jesus, but I'm gonna wait.
But an issue.
But
give
check
me
this
some
out.
context. Give me some context on this.
Well, I'm finna play it right here. Check it. Wait, hold on. Let me share. Am I sharing? Oh, I'm already sharing. Okay. Let me play this.
Slavery is on the ballot in 5 states. Slavery is on the ballot. Voters in Alabama, Louisiana, Oregon, Tennessee, and Vermont will soon decide on closing loopholes in their states' constitutions that led to a rise in forced labor by people convicted of certain crimes. This effort is part of a national push to amend the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which bans enslavement or involuntary servitude except as a form of criminal punishment. Now, that exception has long permitted what some consider the exploitation of labor by convicted felons. 19 states have language allowing this. And in the past, Colorado, Nebraska, and Utah had similar initiatives. So now it's forbidden there. Democrats in California tried to rid the remnant of slavery. However, the state Senate rejected a proposed amendment to get rid of involuntary servitude. So clearly a hot button issue here. And for more on this, we want to bring in our ABC News contributor and presidential historian, Mark Updegrove, along with ABC News contributor.
I don't want to hear the talking heads. So basically, let me go back to this. Voters in 4 U.S. states elect to end slavery as punishment for inmates, but not Louisiana. So it was 5 states that it was on the ballot. 4 of them said, okay, yeah, we're going to end involuntary, you know, uh, servitude for inmates. But Louisiana said, nah, we cool with the slavery over here for inmates.
I'm not surprised. I grew up in Louisiana, and we've had our red wave, our blue wave, and it didn't matter who was in office. Like they as a whole, white, black, and in between, like they're okay with this kind of idea. So um I'm not surprised, but like I said, I mean, it's I think it's more up to the citizens to be more involved instead of just believing that, because you got this politician live next door to you or in your family and this, that, and the other, that they really give a shit about you. Because if they did, they would make you aware of what's going on. And in that way, you know what I'm saying? Because it'll end up spreading. You got a leeway for other things to happen. You know what I'm saying? If there's any glimpse of light in a law like that, like it can be taken advantage of in different ways. And then, not to say like it gives them a reason to even enslave somebody who might not necessarily be innocent. I mean, they may not be guilty. You know, like we already know the percentage of people that get locked up that probably, their rights were violated throughout the process. They end up getting convicted on something that they wouldn't necessarily have gotten convicted on. It's so many different things because they have there's a reason for them to say, we have a industry that we need to continue. It's just, hey, I don't know what to say, because I mean, this is my first time hearing about this, but and it comes after the voting. I'm sure people this would have made people's decision on who they voted for would have changed a lot quicker if they would have heard that, because the whole idea about slavery is like it's, oh, that's impossible. Like no, that's in 2022, never. You must be insane if you was to say something like that these days. But looks like it's still living. I mean, we already know the 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment. Like, look, shit. Kanye said we shouldn't even have a 13th commitment. They don't even have 13th floors on in certain buildings because of how bad luck it is. You know, bro.
Right? Maybe they should have just skipped from 12th to 14th Amendment.
Maybe because that's what they do on some of these buildings. It's 20, 30 flights high. There is no 13th floor. It's jumped from 12 to 14.
I can't help but to think of a Andre 3000 line where he says, they said, he said, I'm on the 13th floor. He said, but there ain't no 13th floor. They said it skipped from 12 to 14. He's like, his point was, no, this is the 13th floor. Like, just because you say it skips from 12 to 14,
Well,
if I
yeah,
count up, I'm going to land that I'm on the 13th floor.
yeah. If it's not labeled, if it wasn't labeled, and you calling it this would be 13th floor. You're saying it's 14th, the 14th floor, but it's actually the 13th. So I relate. I definitely get it. I mean, even though 13 really shouldn't be like a bad number, because I mean, astrologically, and it's really a good number. It has comes with a lot of good energy, but I think for certain people, it's supposed to be a bad idea. Because I mean, most of our astrologers that you know 13 was a lucky number,
Let me
but
read a couple more comments. It says, it's astounding but not surprising that in the primitive fallen United States that we are still debating whether slavery in all its forms should be abolished. Duh, it's a no-brainer for anyone with a heart and soul.
well, people still even think that just because it's not the same slave. Because I mean, everything has been revolutionized to this point, even slavery. Like we seeing right now, we got millionaire slaves.
Kyrie,
You
let
know what
me
I'm saying?
let me read a couple more comments. It says, I don't know. There is virtually zero justice served in the current court system. I actually think that part of a punishment would be that the fruit of your labor during your incarceration goes to the victim. To me, that just makes sense. Free forced labor for private prison or government, no. Buy for the victim's compensation, I think that would be an improvement.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Angola is not a private prison. That is something that is totally like Louisiana. The state of Louisiana is profiting off of that prison, and it's a maximum security prison at that. So I mean, they still got the chain gang. They got people out there in the fields growing food and doing. It's the full like, bro. Like I'm sure, like you go out there, you're gonna feel like you done went to a time warp where you pretty much went back to the 1800s.
telling you. Let me read this one. It says, perhaps if prison were used for what it's supposed to instead of a business with free labor, it wouldn't be profitable to imprison as many people as possible. I think
Yeah,
that's a
but
very, very good point.
that's the biggest conflict with it because like there's no reason for them because like okay if people go into prison you know yeah you do your time but because it is profitable to the judges like everybody that sends you there to the ones who's you know within that whole mix like it's more profitable to them whereas these people that I mean, I'm sure they've done some, a bad enough crime. I, I mean, I guess they deserve to be there or have to deal with their crime. But at the same time, where's the incentive for the people, like the prison to be like, no, we've rehabilitated this person. They go back into society and live, and you know, they don't have any reason to do that. Like they find more reasons, pretty much like Kamala was doing in California. It's like, no, we need people that can do these jobs for us. So no, we're not gonna let these people out, whether it's their time to come out or not. We'll let them do more, give a reason, they'll do more crime while they're in here, and that will give us justification for keeping them in here.
Fuck, man. I kind of want to move on because this one is emotional. I'm going to get all emotional on this topic because I'm reading the comments and they're kind of pissing me off. One of the comments, it says, you do the crime, you do the time. So they're totally okay with slavery, this person. Another one, it says, if you have hard labor in prison without pay, of course, perhaps people could curtail the number of criminals wanting to get into the club. These people really understand. And what about the innocent people that are in there? Like, you're totally okay with them, being a slave.
They don't give a damn.
Let's just watch this incredible clip here of what